All right, a very good morning to all my dear students. So I hope you had a great experience in attending the international conference, which was very well organized by our Institute of Chartered Accountants of India. And I'm glad those who have given us a very positive feedback for the same. Apart from that, a very good morning, Shubhambi, Ajit, Famisha, and all those who have sent beautiful morning wishes. A very good morning to all of you children. And secondly, again, I hope you are totally energetic for today's session as you all have been eagerly waiting. And many of you have written, ma'am, we have revised Unit 1 of Partnership. So applause for all of you. Well done. That's really wonderful. So before we begin today's session, children, let me just let you know what all we are going to do in today's session. Just give me 1 minute because I'm just trying to reach your query session once again. It just got logged off in between. Yeah. So as we begin today's session, you all know we'll be starting with Unit 2 of Partnership. That is second chapter of Partnership Act. We are going to start today. And yes, Dinesh, Komlakshi, Sanyam Jain, Hira, Dhairya, Shiva, Dhruv, Manisha. Now I'm getting all your messages. Good morning, children. Sabita, Anuja, Pooja. Akshneel has a query for us. We'll try to resolve that as well. Bhumika, Karishma, Jaspreet, Mayur, Jagruti, Harshika, Harshita, Hira, Sanyam. All of you, a very good morning, children. So he's asking, Akshneel has written a query with a good morning wish that what is the meaning of term bona fide? So when we say the rights given to the access the books of accounts, so child, this is something which we're going to start today. So in today's session, Akshneel, we'll be talking about all the rights, powers and duties of partners. So this specific point that you have asked about section 12, subsection D will get clear then. Otherwise, if you ask me the meaning of bona fide means for the benefit of something which you are doing in a good faith, something you're doing for the benefit of the other person. You cannot have any wrongful or willful kind of neglect while you are doing partnership with any firm, while you are being partner in any of the firm. You all are associated on the basis of mutual trust. Okay. Harshika, thank you so much. I'm glad. So it's again, Akshneel, when we talk about all the entire rights, whatever rights are given, that is something which we're going to discuss in today's session. So children, I hope we had nice good morning wishes now. Let's proceed today, what we are going to do today. So two things I have planned for you, all of you today. Number one, we're going to start with the second chapter, that is relationship of partners to one another as well as with third parties. Now, many of you, even before starting the session, generally you are very anxious and worried, ma'am, too many sections in this chapter we have. So again, thumb rule. What is the thumb rule? We are not required to write the sections as far as your CA foundation paper is concerned. So if you ask me, ma'am, it's mandatory to remember sections. So I can tell you that it's okay even if you don't write the correct section, even if you don't write the sections. But if you are writing the section, then you must write the correct section. Otherwise, avoid writing. Never ever write a wrong case study citation or a wrong section. You should never do these kind of things in your exam because then it gives a very negative impression. All right. Yes, Karishma, definitely you can have examples in your own language in order to explain the context. Good morning, Gunchita, Vidhi, Kushi, who have just joined, Arpita, Mohammed, Ganga, Madi, Cheti, Nishank, all of you, Soumya. All right. So it's very important to understand how you have to attempt a paper. So one thing we are going to do is Unit 2, we will be starting. But since many of you keep writing, ma'am, how to write a case study, and we don't have a separate session for this particular, how to attempt a case study. So I was thinking last time also many children were asking. So in today's presentation, I have included a descriptive case study for you, wherein I'll tell you actually how you have to organize and write the steps, how you actually have to define it when you are writing and talking about your particular case study. So we have to very carefully understand that what is the meaning when we are attempting a case study, how we have to read the question very carefully. If you remember, while we ended with Sale of Goods Act, I taught you how you have to read the questions. We did one of the examination questions. So now, since we have already done with the first chapter of partnership, so there was one last topic You remember what was the name of the last topic that we did, section 28? Anyone remembers that? Give me an answer. Let me see how well your memory is and how good you have revised. Meanwhile, I'll just open the PPT for all of you. So let me see how many of my children remembers what we did in the last session. So I'll just open the PPT meanwhile for all of you. So 1st February 2022, we are going to start our new chapter. That is, this is the topics that we're going to cover today. What are the mutual rights and duties? So children, as you all know, we have recently attended a very nice Republic Day that we celebrated today with our whole team doing a parade, and it was entire thing was covered live. So you know why we celebrate Republic Day, because our Constitution of India was formed and certain fundamental rights and duties were given to every Indian citizen. Now the way it is given to all the citizens of Indians, they have fundamental rights and duties. Similarly, when you enter into partnership with other members, you have been given certain rights and duties. So today we will be understanding what kind of rights and duties of a partner has, how he can participate in the management and conduct of the business, what is the authority of the partner. So authority of partner specifically talks about powers. Remember, authority, power, delegation, responsibility. Excellent. Partner by estoppel, partner by holding, or those who have sent me the answer for the question that I asked you. Excellent, children. So you will be glad to know that I have included one example I have created just to make you understand what is the meaning of partner by estoppel, but we'll try to understand in a way how to write an answer for a descriptive case study. So let me just introduce the topic that we're going today, and first we will do that descriptive case study, then we will be doing the topics of the second chapter. So let me just give you an introduction. Yes, Ruchi Bajaj, Komalakshi, Shiba, Mohammed, everyone, you're correct. Okay, so rights and duties and powers, I was just telling you, like you did in your management studies, powers, authority, delegation, responsibility. Remember the word authority we used to, we have a great, we have given in your BCom also, you must have given tests of such kind of questions, how the authority and responsibility flows. So authority is the same word that was used over there, which means powers. So as a partner, when you're doing a partnership in a firm, you have been given certain powers. Now, these powers can be expressed or implied. What is the meaning of implied? Children, in law, same terminology is used in every act. So you understood when you did Contract Act, what are express contracts, what are implied contracts. We jumped into the Sale of Goods Act. Again, we were talking about implied conditions, implied warranties. Today, again, in partnership, we are going to use the word implied. So when you go to a railway station and you move out from the train and you're carrying so many heavy bags in your hand. So a coolie comes and picks up your bag. He did not say anything. And he escorted you till the place where your cab was standing. Now, my dear children, a coolie has picked up your bag. He's dressed up in that coolie dress. He picks up your bags without saying any word. You did not say anything that, okay, come along with me, but you just moved along with him and he escorted you till the place where your cab was. Don't you think once you have reached the place where your cab is standing, you need to pay to this coolie guy? Was he helping you voluntarily? No. He's a person who is dressed up in a coolie dress. That means a tacit contract, an implied contract is getting formed in between you and the coolie guy. You're not speaking anything. Remember the coffee example? When you go to a restaurant and you just spend points to get me this coffee, I want to have nice espresso coffee or maybe a hazelnut cappuccino. That is one of my favorites, which I enjoy having. So I just say, get me a hazelnut cappuccino. So does that person need to tell me that, ma'am, if you're ordering a coffee, you'll have to pay for that? It's implied by my words, without even by my conduct. When I pointed towards a cup of coffee, this one I want, that means I'm forming a contract. So sometimes it's not necessary that you have to speak the words. So if I tell the coolie guy, please come and pick up my luggage and escort me, that means I'm forming an express contract with that person. When I don't speak anything, I remain silent by my actions, by my conduct. I have said to form a contract with that person. Now, when he helps me to reach the place of my destination, I need to pay him. Similarly, when my coffee comes on my table and I have my coffee, enjoyed my coffee, I'm supposed to pay the bill for that coffee. It's not a free service going on. They will not say that Harleen ma'am has come to our cafe, so since ma'am is teaching students, so let's serve a free coffee. Then it is a different story. So if I come to meet you and you are giving me a treat for coffee, then you might have to pay for it. But basically what we are understanding over here is meaning of implied. So implied means express means by words spoken, implied means by our conduct and behavior. So now it will become very simple for you to understand when we say implied authority of partners. So it means the partners may be expressly given an authority. Like in a KD Kamath case, we have expressly said that KD Kamath is going to have the exclusive powers and control. But if our partnership deed is not mentioning something specific, so it says, law says every partner has certain authority powers. Say, for example, if I am doing business with Mr. A and Mr. B and Harleen ma'am, three of us are partners, then A can also do business transactions. Harleen ma'am can also do business transactions and B can also do business transactions. Why? Because we are doing business together. That is implied. When we have signed a partnership agreement, when we have signed a deed, we have certain implied powers given to us. So those powers are given by law to us. Now, there are certain powers which are restricted by the law. So that is the major topic that we're going to discuss today. What are the kind of restrictions that law imposes? What are the 7-8 cases where we cannot exercise our power unless and until it is agreed between the partners? So say, for example, if you want to open up a bank account in your own personal name, you need to have an agreement with respect to that. You cannot just get up and you can say that we are having a partnership firm account only in the name of Mr. A. If you're having business partnership accounts, it will always be in the name of the firm. So these are the cases which we'll be discussing in the implied authority of partners apart from the rights and duties. And then we will be talking about what the partners, how they come in, how they join the firm, how they retire, what happens in the dissolution. So these are the kind of things which are entirely to be covered in chapter number 2. All right. So before we begin with the relationship of partners to one another, I have a very interesting case study for all of you. So the heading given to this is how to attempt descriptive questions in CA Foundation law paper. Since many of you have been requesting, ma'am, please teach us how to write a paper. So first, let me just take you to the same topic which you all answered me, partnership by estoppel. So here is a case study. Now I have already told you the name of the concerned provision also. So first answer is already has come out, but still it's okay because here we are going to learn what is the meaning of how to write the case studies. So here is the question out for all of you. It says X and Y are partners dealing in sale and purchase of electronic items. They introduced a new type of washing machine in their business. Now, who are the partners? X and Y are the partners, and X has a friend A who has a very good knowledge about the washing machines. Now, X has fixed up a meeting with a new client, that is Z. So who is Z, children? Z is a third party. Who is Z? Please write down in your notebooks. Z is a third party. And he requested his friend, Mr. A is a friend over here, to accompany him for such a meeting. During the time of meeting, so on 26 June 2018, X introduced his friend as his partner to Mr. Z. Now, what is this partner doing? He's telling Z that, look, my friend, Mr. A, he's also a partner in our firm. A remained silent, very, very important line, and did not say anything. A was actively participating in this meeting. So Z, a trader, believed that A has supplied, A was a partner, and he gave him 120 washing machines on credit. However, Z did not get the payment of the amount. Now you have to tell me, can this third party Z file a suit against X and A for the recovery of price? So we are specifically going to ask you, can we hold this Mr. A, who is just a friend of X, liable for the price under Indian Partnership Act? So first of all, give me the answer, yes or no. Can we hold him liable or we cannot hold him liable? Vanshika Gupta is saying voice is not coming. Please confirm me if it's clear or not, children. Was there any error in between? Kindly confirm. Because many of you have answered the meaning of implied. That is absolutely correct. Bhumika, Shiba, Chetan, Pranjali, Ruchi, Sanyam, Harshika, Lakshmi. That's absolutely correct. Shiv Tripathi. Okay. Sarthak Agarwal, you were trying to write something. It has not reached to me. So children, can A, who is just a friend of X, can he be held liable under Indian Partnership Act? Yes or no? I want to have the answer for this first. Can we hold him liable? So many of you have answered correctly. That is, yes, ma'am, we can hold him liable on the principle of partner by holding out. So he becomes a partner by holding out. So all my children know the answer very nicely. Let us understand now how you have to. So this is question number 1. The answer is, first of all, you have to write the concern provision. Now I'm teaching you the exact way how you have to attempt your question paper. Such kind of descriptive questions, how you have to hold him. Jyoti Jha, thank you for confirming the voice is absolutely clear. Thank you, Mansi and Chetan. Thank you. And all those who have sent the correct answers, that's absolutely correct. Yes, we can hold him liable on the basis of partner by estoppel. Good. That means you all can hear me clearly. Okay. So now answer will be, first of all, you'll write concern provision. If you remember section 28, write it down. Otherwise, what can we write? As per the provisions of Indian Partnership Act. सिंपल. नहीं सेक्शन याद है तो प्रोविजंस तो उसी की है ना. ये तो पता है कौन सा एक्ट है. या फिर कह लो एज पर द इंडियन पार्टनरशिप एक्ट, देन ऑल्सो इट्स फाइन. Partnership by holding out is known as partner by estoppel. If a man holds himself as a partner or allow others to enter, then he is stopped from denying the creditor. And if upon the faith of such creditors assumed and they have given anything to the firm, then that partner also become liable because he has become partner by holding out. Simply whatever is written under section 28, you will write it in your own words. If you have remembered and learned from the study material, you can write it as it is as well. Yes, absolutely correct. Many of you have written the answer also. Bhumika, Dhairya, Aryan, they are writing, ma'am, section 28 will become applicable. Okay, Aryan Agarwal, you are going in a separate question. We will first understand how we have to attempt this question, and then we'll go to the second one. Okay, so all of you understood. This will be your first paragraph of writing an answer. Now, second, as I have always been telling you, facts of the case. First paragraph, you'll write the concern provision. Second paragraph, you're going to tell him that this is what is happening in your question. Now, the facts of the case is exact replica of what the examiner has asked you. देखो अगर आप पढ़ोगे ना, मैंने सारी की सारी स्टोरी क्वेश्चन पेपर में से लेकर लिख दी है यहाँ पे. In the given case, तो ये हमेशा आपका पहला वर्ड आएगा. In the given case, A, who is just a friend of X, was introduced to Mr. Z as a partner. A remained silent and showed active participation. Each and every line is taken from the question paper. This is what was given in the question. And on the basis of this interaction, Z has given him 120 washing machines. On the expiry of credit period, Z wants to recover the prize money from both X and A. So I have just briefly written the circumstances of the case. That means second paragraph where I'm writing facts of the case, I'm just briefly giving a summary of what the examiner is asking me to do. This is how you have to write your paper, children. You cannot simply say, yes, he will become liable. So 6 marks a question, he will also give you half a mark. That good, beta, you have written correct. If you really want 6 out of 6, this is your representation of the answer. Write down the concern provision. Remember the section, write it. Don't remember as per the act, write it down. Second paragraph, facts of the case. What is facts of the case? The entire summary we just took from the question that has come. Now comes your exact answer. ये आपकी conclusion, ये 4 लाइनों का आपका actually में answer है. If you have not written this conclusion, then also I'm sorry you'll not get marks. So full 6 marks, write it like this. Conclusion. A, the friend of X, is also liable. Now I have given my answer to you. This is my exact answer. X is also liable because he becomes partner by holding out, Section 28 of Indian Partnership Act. Since A represented himself or knowingly represents himself to be as a partner, when in fact he is not. Likho, batao usko, you have to tell him that he was not a partner actually. If Mr. A was anyways a partner, then this story will change. Then anyways, mutual agency relationship will occur and you become liable to pay to the other party. But here, when in fact he is not a partner, is very important line. So I'm trying to explain the examiner in my own words. I'm giving him the conclusion. And now I'm trying to relate the concerned provision and the facts of the case. And I'm trying to conclude it that since he was not a partner, he will become liable because on such representation, the credit has been given. They had a transaction on the basis of this, that A went out, he represented himself, he actively participated in the management. Actually, he was not a partner. Therefore, Z has given the credit, means he has already supplied the things, trusting that A is a partner. Therefore, A becomes a partner by holding out, and now he becomes liable to the firm. Liable to Mr. Z. On behalf of the firm, he becomes liable to pay to Mr. Z. All right, children, understood. Now, whenever you pick up any question from the mock test paper, just try to revise the context, write the answer in your own words, the same way I just taught you right now, and then go to the suggested answers to see what the examiner has given for you. Pehle try karo, pehle koshish karo. If you'll not just try, you will keep on reading the mock test papers without trying it yourself, then you are just, वो क्या बोलते हैं हम आजकल, you all have been doing open book system in your BCom also because of lockdowns. You have been cheating and doing your paper. But again, I tell my students, for cheating also you need to use your brains. So the answers are there. ICAI is making so much effort. They have updated all the mock test papers, revision test papers, suggested answers, everything is updated on the site. But please try to test your knowledge. Read the descriptive case studies. Answer I've told you. This is how you have to frame the answers. Write it in your own words and then go and see what ICAI has given you the answers and try to check your work. All right. Please try doing that. Now let's come up to the general duties of the. Yes, Shivam Chaudhary, you have to write down in the different paragraphs the way I've just explained you. That will become very easy for you. I'm glad Hira, Bhumika, those who have written, we have understood nicely. Good. And I hope you will write the, yes, Dhairya Verma, it's absolutely the summary of the question only, the facts of the case. And if you write like this, definitely you will get good marks. Mr. Abdul Vanchika, that's correct. Thank you, Manisha. Hriday Gupta, that is a separate question which we'll understand how the powers are to be exercised of the partners. Today we will get understanding about that. But this question specifically was asking about the partner by holding out. So Hriday Gupta, if you'll write over there that how X and Y are liable, that will become a separate story. You just have to answer straight away what the examiner is asking you. So in this respective question, he's strictly asking you, can we recover the money from A? Can we hold him liable? So you have to answer on the basis of partner by holding out. You don't have to give extra information, children. Please remember, it doesn't mean that if you have revised the entire chapter, you will write your entire chapter. No. To the point and relevant things only you have to write in the exam. Now let's understand the general duties of the partners. So children, you tell me one thing. If A, B, and C have decided to do a partnership with each other. So we are forming a partnership that is ABC Associates. So what do you think? What should be the general duty? Duty means my responsibility. Don't you think that A should be fair in his dealings? He should show the true books of accounts to Mr. B and C. Mr. B and C should not try to cheat Mr. A. Or maybe one of the partner, Mr. B, should never try to cheat Mr. A and C other partners. Can we do that? I told you partnership is based upon the basis of mutual trust, faith, and confidence. Only if we have a good relation. So today we are going to understand what kind of relation the partners have with one another. It is a relationship of mutual trust and confidence. Only if we have trust on each other, then only we can do business together. So the first point, the first duty clarifies that in order to carry on the business, you have to be just and fair. Just and fair means honest. Moral values, children, your moral values is something which is very important in life. So I keep telling my chartered accountant students whom I get a chance to meet, say for example, for any interviews if you're preparing. Children, if you are even a qualified chartered accountant, you're professionals, you're doctors, but if you don't have certain moral values, nobody's going to respect you in life. Now, what do we call moral values? Being a disciplined person, being punctual, being honest, not cheating anyone, not committing any crime. So these are the basic moral values, having just and fair dealing. If any of the partner is committing any fraud, is it your duty to commit a fraud? Never. You have to be honest. So in life, we have to follow these rules. This is not just for partnership. You should remember these kind of moral values for your lifelong relationship with any other firm. So even as an employee, when you join any organization after you become CS, you have to be just and fair. You have to be honest in your business fair dealings. All right? गोलमाल करना, घपला करना, जो मूवीज में दिखाते हैं वो मूवीज एंटरटेनमेंट के लिए होती है. रियल लाइफ में you have to follow the basic policies and moral rules in any organization. So it says number one duty of the partners is that we will be equality, rule of equality, honesty has to be shown. We will give complete information. If I am one of the partners and I'm trying to hide the profits, I'm trying to eat up the hidden or secret profits in the firm, am I doing good thing? No, I'm not doing a good thing. I have to give complete information. Whatever information is available with me, I must share it with Mr. B and C as well. So whatever information is with A should share out with other partners as well. So that is the meaning of having a fair conduct, being just and faithful. We cannot cheat each other. So remember, partners can't cheat each other. We have to be honest and fair towards each other. This is what your first general duty of partners is. Second, it says to indemnify the firm for the loss caused by him during the conduct of firm's business. Now, this is very, very interesting. Here, I'm going to share an example with all of you. If you want, you can write down this example. So again, three partners that we're going to take are the same partners, Mr. A, B, and C. Now, one of the partners, Mr. A, he went to purchase certain furniture for the business. Now, we know that whatever assets were to be purchased for the business, we cannot exceed the budget of rupees 10,000. So the firm has fixed a budget that 10,000 se zyada hame nahi spend karna. But Mr. A, when he went to purchase that expensive chairs and all, he really liked them. And because of his own personal choice, he spent 12,000 from the firm's funds. So now here law is trying to tell you that although the budget that you have fixed was 10,000 and A out of his own personal choice, because he's liking a particular chair very much, he said it has wheels to it and it is very good for my backache problem will not occur. And he said that I really want this kind of chair. Had it been agreed between the partners, then it's fine. But if the partners have agreed that not more than 10,000 furniture expenditure was to be done, and now A out of his own personal choice is purchasing this furniture for 12,000, then law says A must indemnify the firm for this 2,000 rupees. If firm is suffering any loss, the firm has suffered a loss. You have exceeded the budget. We have already fixed the limit. So if you're doing any such kind of at a higher rate, if you have purchased something or maybe any other reason, if firm suffers any loss, then this Mr. A needs to indemnify, means he has to pay the firm for this loss. So the meaning of indemnify is to make good the loss. Please write down the meaning of indemnify means to make good the loss. So even if in your study material, if you'll read the analysis of section 10, it says any partner committing fraud in the conduct of business. Now here he's saying he is doing little kind of fraud kind of thing. He knew that the budget is 10,000. Still he is spending 12,000. Kisse poochkar? Whom did you ask? Partnership firm has fixed a budget of 10,000. You're committing a fraud. You did a cheating. In the books of accounts, it is showing a clear picture. 2,000 loss the firm has suffered. Now it says the partner committing fraud must make good the loss. Make good the loss. Indemnify means to make good means to compensate. So another meaning you can write down to indemnify means to compensate. So you have to pay for it. To compensate means you have to pay for it. So firm is suffering a loss because of your dealing. Therefore, now you need to pay to the firm for that. So it says you must make good the loss sustained by firm by his misconduct, and the amount so brought in the partnership should be divided between the partners. So partners have to pay if any loss has been suffered, and the other partners will divide it among themselves. Clear as to indemnify the loss, you can simply remember this example. If any of the partner is doing any purchases, if he's liking a lot and he's purchasing at a higher price, so just out of his own personal choice, if the firm is suffering any loss, then this extra amount he needs to pay to the firm. Another duty of the partners is to contribute to the losses of the firm in equal proportion. So you all have been asking me, ma'am, is the partners only have to share the profit? So here comes your answers. You have to contribute the losses. Implied hai na? Profits thodi na sirf we will be eating and losses somebody else is going to bear. Who will bear the losses? Partners are only going to bear the losses as well. Unless and until you are a partner in profits only. Unless and until you are a minor only. So these are the basic things which you have to keep in mind. But otherwise, it says the general rights and duties of the partners is that you have to contribute to the losses as well. The way you are eating the profits, you should also contribute to the losses. Not to assign his share to some other party. Now, this is specifically sub-partnership. So when we go to the topic of right of transferring the partner's interest, there we will understand how it happens. But as a general duty, you cannot assign your share of profits or maybe the share in the partnership firm to another person. What is the meaning of to attend his duties diligently? Now, diligently means again faithfully. You have to do your duties very carefully. Diligently means carefully. So if I am a sole proprietor, I know I am doing a business and I have a factory. So if you come to my accounts office or accounts room, you will find everything very well organized. All the files are in place. So I'm a sole proprietor. I have to take care of all my bank statements, all my bank accounts, and all my files, suppliers with whom I'm dealing. They should be documented nicely. ऐसे करोगे ना business if you're doing a startup business tomorrow. So you'll take care of your things. Similarly, he says in partnership also you have to perform your duties diligently. A cannot say that B and C will take care of the papers. I'll just keep them loose on the table only. Isn't it? It's your responsibility also. So individually also it says all the partners. It doesn't mean that you can just keep the sheets are lying here and there. All the documents are open. Purchase file is lying somewhere else. You don't know how to document the things. So this is not done. As a partner, it is your responsibility. Each and every partner has a responsibility. So duties means responsibilities. What are your responsibilities towards the firm? So it is your responsibility to take care, to file the forms, to document them nicely, keep your tables clean, maintain the office. All these things are known as attending the duties diligently. Means the way you have been doing it as a sole proprietor, as a partner also, it is our combined joint stock assets. We should take care of each and everything in the firm as well. Clear ho gaya general duties. That means relationship of one another. You're very much clear how the partners have to take care of their duties. Then comes the rights of the partners. What are the rights given to certain partners? Now, 3 things I told you we'll be doing today. One is we just spoke about the duties, that is your responsibilities. Now, जैसे कि Constitution of India gives you fundamental rights, similarly, partnership firm, partnership deed, partnership agreement also gives certain rights to the partners. So we have done the responsibilities and duties, we are doing the rights, and after this, we will talk about the powers. All right. Now, right of partners. Number 1, it says right to take part in the conduct of the business. So if you can see all the partners' roles and responsibilities in this picture, if you can see, they all are giving hands towards each other. They all are saying, together we will do a business. So they all are showing their rights and responsibilities. So definitely we have the right to participate in the conduct of business. It is not that one of you is only responsible. So let's take example over here of Mr. P, Q and R. So P, Q and R have opened up a firm. They are the traders in the business of cloth. So now do you think it's only P's responsibility to do all the purchase and sales and Q and R are just sitting and having pizza party entire day in the office? Please, Q and R are also equally responsible. It is your right to take part in the conduct of business. Nobody can stop the other partner. If P tries to tell Mr. R that you are 2 years younger to me and you should not interfere in the conduct of business, I have the only authority. Can it be done? You tell me. Whereas tell you that there is a right to take part in the conduct of business. So let's take an example. There are 3 partners, Mr. P, Q and R. So P is 33 years of age and R is 31 years of age. And P one day just get up from his seat and tell R that you are 2 years younger to me and you are not allowed to take part in the conduct of business. Can P do this? Yes or no? Can we do this? Is he allowed to do? The law is giving him permission to do such kind of things. Sujal Gupta, definitely you can get full marks in the answers if you write it correctly. That's nice. Good. Yes, if you do it the way I have told you, the way you present, and if it's correct. So don't come back to me if you have written a wrong answer and you say that I don't get marks, then it's your fault. Thank you, Dhairya Verma. I'm glad you enjoy the method. Wow, what a quick answer. Manisha, Mohammed, Vidya, Abdul, Shiba, Chetan, very good. No, Mr. P cannot do this. Why? Because you cannot stop anyone from participating in the conduct of the business. Now, this is what is given in your study material also. If you'll just read the analysis of section 12, that small paragraph, that example that they have written, I'll just read it out for you. It says, if the management power of a particular partner is interfered and if he is wrongfully precluded from participating, means the same example you can write down. If PQ are of the partners, if P tries to stop Mr. R or any of the partners. So we are just assuming Mr. P tries to stop Mr. R from participating, then can the court interfere? It says the answer is affirmative. Yes, the court can also stop you from doing that. How does the court stop? It says the court can, by injunction, restrain the other partners from doing so. A partner who has been wrongfully deprived of participation in the management can file an action for dissolution or a suit for accounts seeking dissolution. So if P tries to does any such thing, if he stops R, you all told me, no ma'am, number one, he cannot do it. But if he does so, what are the remedies available with Mr. R? He can file a case in the court. He can drag Mr. P and even Mr. Q. If any one of them tries to bother him, if they stop him from participating in the conduct of the business, he can ask for dissolution. What is the meaning of dissolution? It means he can ask to close the firm, end the firm. We should close the firm and let's settle the accounts. I'm not going to do business with you because you're not allowing me to participate in the conduct. That is my right. So I have my right to participate. You cannot stop me from participating in the business. Second right is right to be consulted. Again, let's take an example. Let's have little pity for Mr. R. So Mr. P and Q are again enjoying the pizza parties and having a cup of coffee together, and they take all the rights and decisions of the business. And they don't consult Mr. R. So P and Q fixed up a new dealing with Mr. A, a supplier, and they did not consult Mr. R. Again, Mr. R can go and file a case in the court. He says, I have a right to be consulted. You're all together. Can you see in this picture my rights and responsibilities? We have to, unanimous consent has to be there. It says decisions like opening a business, new chain of business, any expansion, any change of the business firm name has to be done. All the partners must be consulted. But please write down over here, children, for any petty issues, for routine to retain matters, it is not necessary that we should consult the partners. Say, for example, there was a deal which is to be organized, which was to be finalized. All the partners PQR had a meeting that, okay, fine, we will finalize the deal with Mr. A and Mr. P can go and do the deal finally. So the deal was to be finalized for 1 lakh. So Mr. P, while having an interaction with Mr. A, thought of giving a discount and he said, okay, let's freeze it for 90,000. So now these routine matters, something Mr. P has taken a call on his own, that is fine. But it says if major business decisions like expansion of business, changing the name of the firm, or taking any new partner as an admission, all these things you have the right to be consulted. But please write down, for management of all the partners must be consulted. However, for any petty or routine matter, for any petty or routine nature of work, even if only few of the partners are consulted, then also it is fine. So section 12, subsection C, where it is written in your study material, please write down, for any petty or routine matter of work, only few of the partners can also be consulted. All right. Now comes your point, right to access the books, which somebody was asking in the morning. Right to access the books. Now here comes your word which says bona fide. मैंने कहा था ना आपको आज क्लास में समझ आ जाएगा bona fide. Now, what is the meaning of right to access the books? Now, every time this Mr. A comes to the office and he starts reviewing the books of accounts. One is just checking the books of accounts, okay, everything is fine. One is doubting the other partners. You know what is the role of auditor? Why you are all CA Foundation students. Once you become chartered accountants and you get yourself placed in big four firms, so you have to go for the audit. So you know what is the meaning of audit? In your CA Inter, you will read the entire subject of auditing also. So just in general words, what is the meaning of audit? Audit means to inspect the books of accounts. Say, for example, if I am a chartered accountant and if I am into practice, I have clients and I go to their my client's place of work and I see whether their books of accounts are being maintained properly. This is what is the role of a chartered accountant, to see if the profit and loss and balance sheet is giving a true and correct fair picture or not. Now there I'm trying to little bit with suspicion I'm going to the client's place because I don't know them. I have to see each and every entry very carefully. I have to do vouching. But in your own business, do you think Mr. P, Q and R need to do the vouching of everything? If I always start doubting, P is saying that Q and R pe mujhe shak hai, I'm not sure whether they have done the correct entry or not. Or if R tells you that I've done the entry, still P and Q try to inspect the books. It says this is not done. Right to access the books doesn't mean that you have to audit the books. You're not the auditors of your own firm. You have to have the relationship of bona fide. Relationship means trust. It says the right must be exercised bona fide only for the benefit of each other. See, for example, P says that let me see whether the books of accounts are being maintained properly. Have you recorded the entries? Just a general basis, just for our own benefit of the firm we are doing, it's okay. But if he's doing it, suspecting the other partners, he's having a doubt on the other partners, then it is not done. Okay, so that's why law says this right has to be exercised in a bona fide way, means in good faith. So bona fide, you can write down the meaning of bona fide in your study material, means in good faith, which means you can inspect the books of accounts, which means you can inspect the books of accounts, but in partnership, you don't have to audit the books of accounts. We should have trust on the other partners. We should have trust on the other partners. All right. All right. Does the right to be consulted exist? Okay. So Varun, where dominant partner has decided not to participate in the conduct of business, so this query does not hold valid in that respect. Okay. Yes, Sangeeta, that's absolutely correct. He is not allowed to do so and he cannot do that as well. Priyanka, you are also correct, because all the partners have the right to be consulted. They can access the books of accounts and they can participate in the conduct of business. Khan Ahmed, what happened? It's okay. We can get your messages. Now you have joined in, so it's okay. Yes, Dhruv Agarwal, to check the books of accounts, not to inspect them, not to audit them. So, Mr. Abdul, where unanimous consent of partners is there, then you can take the decision. There is no problem. Yes, Bhumika, all the partners have equal rights and duties. Sabrine is asking the difference between partnership and co-ownership. You have went to chapter 1, huh? Thank you, Shiba. I'm glad you've understood it nicely. Pooja, you're correct. Jyoti is correct. Yajit Sen is correct. Sabrine, difference between partnership and co-ownership. So in between, you have come up with a query. So the answer is, in partnership, you have to remember the definition of section 4, wherein all the partners have come together to do a business and share the profits out of that business. So we have a motive of doing a business. But co-ownership, if you and me, Sabrine and Harleen ma'am, if they're owning a land, so we are together a co-owner of a particular plot of land, and whenever the rental incomes come from that land, you and me just share that rental incomes. So here law says we are just having a co-ownership. Co-ownership means together we are owning a certain property or a certain asset, and we are eating the rental incomes from that property. So we are not doing any business. So co-ownership are different from the partners. So partnership, you have to have the motive of doing business. In co-ownership, we are not doing the business. So Lakshmi, I hope now meaning of bona fide is clear. So we have two Dhruv, not to worry in that. We have Dhruv Agarwal as well and Dhruv Khandelwal as well. Shiv Tripathi, please send your question once again. All right. So Shiv Tripathi, I can just read that, ma'am, please answer my question. But where is your question? Don't expect me to find the question from all those 800-900 queries that have come. All right. So you can send it again. So meaning of bona fide, Lakshmi, you're asking. So meaning of bona fide means in good faith. That means we have to have a relationship of trust and faith on the other partners, wherein I tell you that the right to access the books, that means you have to have the right to check the books of accounts of the other partners, but you should not doubt them. So bona fide means in good faith, you have to do this. Definitely, Khan Ahmed. It's absolutely correct. They can do it right now also. Shiv Tripathi, your question has still not reached to me. Jyoti Jha, don't worry. We will do the topics from the study material as well, and then your point will become clear. Komal, right of legal heirs in which context you're asking, you can write it again. Mr. Bharat Aigi, we are going to the point of remuneration, so just hold on. All right, let's go to the another point of right to remuneration. So I hope you all have understood the first three rights. The fourth one is right to remuneration. Now, what is the meaning of remuneration? Remuneration means basically a kind of a salary which is being paid to the partners. So it says generally the partners don't have any right of remuneration. Remuneration hota kya? Remuneration means salary which is generally paid to the employees. So if you have an employee in your organization, you pay him a salary. So if you're paying such a kind of salary to the one of the partners, it says generally there is no such provision that you should give him a remuneration. But if such right has been expressly given, so if you read in the study material by an express agreement, that means if all the partners agree that one of the partners, say Mr. P, is going to get a remuneration, then Mr. P should get a remuneration. So what is the meaning of remuneration? Remuneration means salary, something in addition to the profits. Share of profits to milna hi milna hai. A, B, C, three partners, they get 10,000, 10,000, 10,000 share. So if it is equally share of profits they're getting, but we have decided Mr. A should also be given an extra salary. Maybe he is acting a role of a manager or a consultant for the firm. So we have decided to give him certain kind of extra salary or income for his work. So this is known as remuneration. Only if it is expressly agreed between the partners, then only we can give a remuneration to one of the partners. Fifth right to share the profits. You all know what is the meaning of right to share the profits. Means you can share the profits of the firm. You're liable for the losses. Similarly, you share the profits. In what ratio you have to share the profits? What is written in the partnership agreement. If it is silent, then the share of profits become equal. Now, 6, 7, 8 are important rights. I want you to understand very carefully. Sixth is the interest on capital. If you must be doing in your partnership accounts, in accounts also, IOC, interest on capital. Now, what is the meaning of interest on capital? Let us understand. Let's assume even if you have not done it in accounts, you should have a good knowledge about interest on capital also. So IOC is interest on capital. So there are three partners, Mr. A, B, and C, who have invested 10,000 rupees capital each. So each one of them has invested 10,000 capital in the firm. So law says regarding interest on capital, again, it is not compulsory that the firm has to pay interest on capital, only if it is mentioned in the agreement. So this is the benefit of partnership. You can decide whatever you want to do by signing an agreement with each other. So express agreement has to be there. So number one, if there is an express agreement that we will be paying interest on capital, then all the partners, any rate, whatever rate, say for example, we have decided 6% per annum. So if we have decided expressly that the partners will get interest on capital 6%, then all the partners, A will get 10,000, 6% per annum, B will also get, C will also get, on whatever capital they have invested, they get a return on that. Interest on capital is kind of a return that you get on the capital that you have invested in the business. Say for example, if you have certain income and you invest it, FD में आप invest करते हैं, savings करते हैं, तो उसके ऊपर आपको interest मिलता है. Similarly, when you invest your capital in certain partnership firm, the return that you get on the capital invested is known as the interest on capital. But number one, there should be an express agreement. then only you can get this interest on capital. Number two, if there is any such trade custom to that effect, means it is generally assumed that ABC have been doing this, that they have been fixing interest on capital. Now another partner, Mr. D, has joined, then he will also get an interest on capital. So it is a general routine work for us. We have been following this custom. Custom in Hindi you can say it is a रिवाज. एक रिवाज है, एक चीज हम फॉलो करते आ रहे हैं. Means we have been doing this. We have been giving interest on capital. So we just generally try to give. So number one, if it is an express agreement or it is our trade, it's our business is such that we have to pay the interest on capital. All right. So in such a cases, you will pay the interest on capital. But the only point to remember in case of IOC is that interest has to be paid only out of the profits of the business. If the firm is already having losses, then you cannot pay interest on capital. You have to have profits in order to pay the interest on capital. So if the business, if you make your profit and loss account, if you have loss on the debit side, then you don't need to pay. If you have losses over here in the profit and loss account, then you will not be paying the interest on capital. You need to have the profits in order to pay the interest on capital. Another point is your interest on advances. Now, advance is a kind of a loan which is given by the partner to a firm. So if any of the partner has given any advance or any loan amount they have given to the firm, then they are required to be paid interest at the rate of 6% per annum. So it says if any partner has given in addition to the capital, he has also given certain amount of loan, he has given an advance to the firm, then the partner can get an interest at the rate of 6% per annum. While interest on capital ceases to run on dissolution, however, the interest on advances still keep running. So it says when the firm comes to an end, if the firm is dissolved, then interest on capital also, you will not get, if the firm has dissolved, you will not get interest on capital. But interest on advances will be continued till the date of the payment. So if A, B, C, there are three partners, A has given a loan of 10,000 to the firm. So until and unless the firm pays back the 10,000, they will continue to pay him interest on advances at what rate? At 6% per annum rate. All right. And the last is right to be indemnified. Now, the way I told you that it is your duty to indemnify in the first topic that you have understood, the general duty. Now it says it is your right to be indemnified. That means if any of the partner has done something for the firm, then they can recover the money that they have spent for the benefit of the firm. Say, for example, A, B, C are three partners and suddenly a fire occurred in their office. So Mr. A just tried to, save the firm's documents and other things and had to incur a lot of expenditure in order to help the fire to get extinguished and other things. Now here law says that A has done something for the benefit of the firm. Therefore, B and C must indemnify him. They must compensate him. They must pay him because if any of the partner has done anything for the conduct of business, then he has the right to be indemnified. The way it is the duty of the partner to indemnify the firm for any loss, similarly, if any partner does any act which is in the conduct of the business and he has incurred expenditure for that, then that partner should be indemnified. The firm must compensate him for this kind of loss. So let's take a small break over here and then we'll continue with the further chapter. So are we connected? All right. All right, students, welcome back once again. So Shiv Tripathi, your query has reached to me now. So he's asking, ma'am, who will indemnify in case the partners have to indemnify the loss? So this is about the general duties that you're asking. So if you remember in that example, I told you if Mr. A has incurred any expenditure in addition to what was fixed in the budget by the firm. So now this Mr. A needs to indemnify, means obviously you are saying he will pay or all the partners. So why all the partners will pay? It is the partner because of whom the firm has suffered any loss. He needs to compensate the firm. He needs to pay back to the firm for whatever loss has been suffered by the firm because of his general conduct in the nature of business. So if he purchased those expensive chairs, which were actually 2,000 additional expenditures, so firm had to suffer a loss. So now he must pay rupees 2,000 to the firm. All right. Statutory, Karishma, statutory word means by law which has been given. Thank you so much, Ms. Karishma. Sameer saying if partnership deed is silent, then no interest and capital is to be paid. It has to be mentioned. And if you ask me, Sameer saying the rate, it is as per the rate which is fixed in your partnership agreement. 6% per annum, children, is the rate which is given by law for the interest on it advances. Mayur, I hope now interest on advances point is clear. We just did it. Yes, Abdul, that's absolutely correct. Remuneration means a kind of salary. Yes, Shiba Khan, that's correct. Is it charge against? Yes, Yajit Sen, that is also correct. Mansi Kumari, right of legal heirs. In which context you're asking? Again, you have written just the right of legal heirs, this point. Which one are you asking? Yes, Aboli, you can write the context without the sections. That's absolutely fine. Kshitij Kumar, if partner is trusting others. So you have to have this faith kind of relationship. You cannot take this context, Kshitij. You have to go with the trust and confidence of the partners. And if you feel that you are being carried away or anybody is trying to dominate, you can request for the dissolution of the firm. Definitely, Aboli, you can write it in your own words. So I hope none of you have meaning of diligently, Pranjali. So diligently means carefully. When you're doing any task in the firm, you have to do it nicely and carefully. I'm glad. Thank you, Shiv Tripathi. Dhruv Khandelwal, indemnified means, see children, there is a contract of indemnity and bailment. So I told you earlier also that is part of your CA inter syllabus when you do law. Contract of indemnity, bailment agency, and all these contracts are also covered over there. But since here you're just using the basic terms, so when you do the entire contract of indemnity, you will understand how indemnity is getting applied. But here you simply needs to understand, like he's asking, Dhruv is asking the meaning of indemnified. Indemnified means to make good the loss. So say, for example, Dhruv, you and me are into partnership and you did something for the business and you had to incur extra expenditure. So there was a fire in the firm and you had to spend something in order to stop that fire. So now since you have done something extra for the firm, so me and the firm and other partners in the firm, we need to indemnify you, means we need to pay you for those kind of payments. So any loss which the firm suffers because of your conduct as a partner, you need to indemnify the firm. If you have done something extra as a partner for the firm needs to indemnify. So meaning of indemnity means to compensate. Okay, so it means to compensate. Children, we have a lot of syllabus to do. If I keep taking each and everyone's queries, then we'll be left behind. So point number 5, child, somebody was asking right to share the profits. That is the basic right. That means if you have formed a partnership, you have the right to participate in the profits also. Thank you, Shiba Khan. All right. So now you say, what is the meaning of prima facie? Dinesh is asking prima facie. I've been telling you earlier also, it means apparently on the face of it. So how it appears means prima facie. Dekhne mein aisa lag raha hai. So when you see it, say for example, if we are partners and we're sharing the profits, so it seems when you're sharing the profits, you are partnership. But you have to apply the basic principle of agency, whether we are dependent on each other for the transactions in order to prove that the partners are actually having a partnership relationship. All right, so let's move ahead. We have to do partnership deed now. So Rights of the legal heirs and representatives regarding this, Mansi Kumari and Komal Sharma, we will be talking when we move ahead about these points. You will understand how the rights of legal heirs can also be exercised. But as of now, let me just, children, finish this partnership property. Otherwise, we'll be left behind with the syllabus only, okay? So we'll take up this point later in the session, which you have just mentioned, Mansi and Komal, all right? All right, now what is the meaning of partnership property? So whatever the assets, whatever the capital is contributed, whatever the funds, whatever cash capital is bought in by the partners in order to start a firm or during the period of continuation of the firm is known as partnership property. So A, B, C, three partners, they invested 10,000 rupees capital. What is that capital? It is partnership property. After starting the business, they bought the furniture for the business, they bought certain paintings for the walls, and they bought another additional assets, some crockery, kitchen material, because they had pantry, they want to have a cup of tea also during business hours. All these things that they have invested for their business purpose is known as partnership property. So you can write down partnership property means, let's go to the study material. We have not gone to the study material. So I'll show you the meaning of partnership property there as well. So these are all the rights that we have discussed, rights A, B, C, D, E. Okay, this is the one that Komal and Mansi are asking. Let's take up this as well. Section 12, subsection E says, in case of death of any partner, his heirs or legal representatives have the right to access and inspect the books of accounts and copies of any books of the firm. So when we talk about the death of a partner, generally I try to cover this point over there, but still if you want to understand, legal heirs means your representatives. Say, for example, A, B, C, there are three partners. Mr. A died. Now, Mr. A had a son, G. So now G, who is son of Mr. A, law says if A has died, any of the partner has died, his heirs or legal representative means the generation next to him. They are legal representatives who has been nominated in the books. They have the right to inspect the books of accounts. So now Mr. G, who is a legal heir means who inherited the next generation, they can come and they can inspect the books of accounts of the firm. Why? Because unless and until his right of share has been settled. So if you don't pay Mr. A's right, Mr. A has died, so his son has the right to inspect the books of accounts. He can go and see how much money was to be paid for my father, and he can also have a fight for a case in the court that at least our money should be paid back. So this is all settlement of accounts. When we cover dissolution, children, you will understand this topic more clearly. All right. So all these rights and liabilities we have done. Quickly come to the partnership property. So analysis of section 14. Now it says all this common stock, partnership property, this is just the other names given to the partnership property. It is also known as partnership assets, joint stock, common stock, joint estate. All the rights, properties given to the firm which the partners collectively have gotten is known as partnership property. So wherein it is written all the properties rights, you can write down all the funds and the cash and capital bought in by the partners. So this analysis, section 14, the first point is talking about all the capital which is contributed by the partners. And this point talked about all the assets that they have purchased during the business. In the course of business, I just explained to you, we bought a crockery, we bought a painting, we bought a table, chair, furniture for the office. So all these assets are known as partnership property. क्लियर हो गया? यहाँ पे आपने लिख लेना है कि these are cash and capital and this is assets. Now this is an interesting point, goodwill of the firm. So it says goodwill is also partnership property. Now whether a particular property is the partnership property or not, it depends upon the real intention of what the agreement between the partners. Say for example, we have three partners, Mr. A, B and C. Now, generally, all the meetings are taken place at Mr. A's house. Although they have an office at a different place, but out of their comfort zone, they try to meet at Mr. A's house. Mr. A is a very good friend of B and C, and they said, I don't mind. I have a separate cabin in my home, and we can have all the meetings over there. Now, children, the office place, I just now told you, the capital assets that you have contributed becomes your partnership property. But do you think this house of Mr. A is also partnership property? The answer is no. You have to see what is the real intention in order to decide what is the property of the firm and what is not. Just because we are having a business dealings at a particular plot of land does not become a partnership property. We need to have the official place of business in order to call it a partnership property. All right. So law simply tries to tell you what is the difference between, we cannot just take up the name of the partnership property just like that. It has to be seen what is the real intention of the agreement between the partners. Partners may at any time with an agreement convert the property of any one of the partners effective between the partners and other creditors or the separate property. So it says partners by an agreement can decide that if one of the house of Mr. A, if they have an office over there, if they have decided by an agreement that yes, we want it to be part of the partnership property, then anything, they have the flexibility of partnership agreement. Whatever decisions they want to take by having a partnership agreement, they can do that. But it's not that just by an act or by a conduct, it becomes your partnership property. Now, coming back to the definition of goodwill, it says section 14 specifically tells us that the goodwill is subject to a contract between the partners is regarded as the property of the firm. So number one, we have understood what is the property of the firm. All the partnership assets brought together is known as property of the firm. But how the goodwill becomes the property of the firm? Law says we have not defined goodwill anywhere. But still the goodwill, what is the meaning of goodwill, children? Goodwill means all the reputation that you have earned over the years. So whatever reputation that you have earned over the years also become your partnership property. So say for example, there is a firm ABC Associates and they have been running their business for 15 years. So from last 15, 16 years, they have been doing this business. Don't you think that they have built a name in the market for this particular business? So the local suppliers, creditors, everybody knows them. So now if they want to sell off this business, you must have done in your account, sale of business, sale of goodwill. So a purchase consideration is paid for this property. So it says now we are selling off entire business. We are disposing of all the partnership assets and we also charge for the goodwill of the firm. So that is known as, that is why they say that the goodwill is also your partnership property because you sell your goodwill. When you're selling your business, you're also charging the payment for the reputation that you have built in the market. So goodwill is, which is very easy to understand, but difficult to define. It says it's not easy to define goodwill. It is something, the reputation of the business in respect of profits expected in future over and the normal level of profits by undertaking the same class of business. So whatever I have been doing, whatever reputation I have built in the market, this something is defined in the eyes of law as goodwill. So it says it's very difficult to have the exact definition of goodwill, but whatever business nature you have been doing, how you have been surviving the competition in the market, that is what is the meaning of the goodwill. But what children you have to remember over here is goodwill is also part of the partnership property. It can be sold separately or along with the other properties. Any partner upon the sale of goodwill makes an agreement with the buyer that he will not carry on the business similar to that of the firm within the specified limits. Now, section 27 is something of the Indian Contract Act, which you all must have done nicely, is very, very important. Now, what does it say? It says here, section 27, restrictions imposed. Remember, there are certain restrictions imposed on the agreements. This particular restriction is talking about your partners who are leaving the firm. What happens in this case? Let us understand with the help of an example. So there are three partners, A, B, and C. Or you want somebody else? M, N, and O. Different names. So M, Murli, N, Narayan, and O. Whom you want? O. Okay, let's leave it. M, N, and O are the partners in a firm. Now, M is going to leave the firm. Now, law says if one of the partners is leaving the firm, we will also discuss this section, particularly when we go to retirement of partner and we talk about leaving of the partners in a firm. But as of now, you should know the meaning of what happens on the sale of goodwill. So if we have sold the goodwill and one of the partners is leaving the firm, law says that it is implied by the law that this particular partner cannot do a competing business. You cannot say that M and O are doing a business in a particular lane. Now, one of the partners just left us and across the road, he has opened his own shop of the same class of business. Can you do so? Can you stand in the competition of your own partnership firm? Law says this is not done. Where once the sale of goodwill has happened, your reputation and built in that firm is being sold, you're being paid for that, then at least within the specified period or specified local limits. Means at least for 3 years or 4 years, whatever is defined. It is not defined. Remember, children. Specified period, kitna specified, this is not defined. Again, depends upon the agreement. So let's take an example. If N and O has made an agreement with Mr. M that for next 2 years, you will not do the business within the same locality. So if we are doing a business in Connaught Place in Delhi, so please for next 2 years, you will not come at the same place and you will not do business. Law says this restriction is allowed as per Section 27 of the Indian Contract Act as well. This restriction is allowed, although the goodwill is part of partnership property, you can sell it, but on the sale of goodwill, if any of the partner is leaving the firm, other partners may by an agreement impose a restriction that you will not carry out the similar kind of business, maybe for next 2 to 3 years and at the same place where we are doing business. Why he is imposing this restriction? Because then the clients will go to him. You cannot suffer as a partner. You cannot make the other partners suffer if you are retiring from a partnership firm. So these kind of restrictions we talk about also in detail. We will speak about these restrictions when we talk about the retirement of a partner from a firm. As of now, simply remember this paragraph and mark this paragraph as an important paragraph and understand with the help of example. Section 15 is nothing. It simply tells you that the firm's property should be used for the purpose of business only. So if I have a car which I have purchased for my business purposes, do you think that I can take this car for my personal use also? If there are 3 partners A, B, C and they have kept a car for the business purpose. Now Mr. A every day comes in the morning and he says that my kids, I have to drop them to the school. I will take my official car for the school purpose also. Can he do so? Law says no, he cannot do so. If we have purchased a certain asset, certain partnership property is for the business purpose, it has to use only for that business purpose. Simple. Every partner has the right to get his share, but they should use the partnership assets only for the partnership business and no other purpose. Clear? Now section 16. Let's go to section 16 from a presentation. Partnership property is clear. Goodwill is something that you have to remember over here. Section 14, 15, we already just discussed. Now, section 16 is another very interesting section, children. He's trying to tell you in section 16 that number 1, you must return any personal profits that you earn from firm's name. So first case, we will be understanding that if you earn any profits by firm's name, you want me to write it down? I'll write it down. So the case 1, over here we have return the personal profits earned by using firm's name. So if you have earned any personal profits by using firm's name, you must return them. And case 2, wherein second example is given, that talks about return all the profits earned from competing business. So where in your study material, according to section 16, those 2 points are written down, just simply write down. The first point relates to when you understand, when you write it in your own language, it becomes a little easy. So study says if a partner is deprived any profit for himself or from the use of property, he must account for that profit and pay it to the firm. So what is the meaning in general of this? So you can write down case 1 says if the partner has earned any profits by using firm's name, he must return this personal profits that he has earned in the firm's business. Second is if he has earned any profits by doing a competing business, then also he need to return down all the profits. Just give me 1 second. Yes, children. So you have written all these cases. So there are 2 cases. Now let us understand with the help of examples, what does this cases actually get defined. So number 1 case, it says Mr. A, B, and C set up a partnership business for refining sugar. Now, this is exactly the example which is given in your study material. So, they are into business of refining sugar. Now, one of the partner, Mr. A, who was himself a wholesale grocer, was aware of the variations in the sugar market. Now, what is he trying to tell you over here? So he says one of the partners who is already having a good knowledge. Variations means if the price is going up and down. So this one of the partner himself was also very well known in the market. He has been doing a business as a wholesaler as well. So he was very well aware that what are the variations which are happening in the rate and price of the sugar. So he has already kept in stock the sugar at lowest price. So what did he do? He went to the market and say, for example, for rupees 8,000, he has purchased, he knew that the price of sugar has fallen down. So 100 bags of sugar, say for example, for rupees 8,000, he has purchased those sugar and he has kept in his entire stock. Now, when the firm had the need of the sugar, because firm is into the business of refining sugar, firm has the need. So he sold the sugar to the firm at the time of need without informing that the sugar belongs to him. So what did he do? This Mr. A, he acted very smartly. He purchased the sugar from the market. He kept the entire stock with him. Say, for example, for rupees 8,000, he purchased it. And when firm required it, so he said, okay, I have purchased it from the market for 10,000 and I'm ready to sell it to you for rupees 10,000. So maybe at that time, the rate in the market was 10,000, but he has already kept the stock with himself at the price of 8,000. And today he sold it to the firm for rupees 10,000. Children, now listen carefully. Don't you think that he has made a hidden secret profit of rupees 2,000? Don't you think Mr. A has earned a profit in the nature of business transaction? Yes or no? Tell me that first, because if you'll not understand yes or no, then there is no point of giving an answer. Somebody is asking what if he has incurred loss? We are talking about profits, children. All right. Thank you, Mansi. So Shiv Tripathi, it has to be seen if there is an agreement. So that is what we covered under implied authority. There are certain restrictions which have been imposed on the implied authority of partners, which they are not allowed to do. So yes, children, are you giving me an answer? Do you really think that he has earned any secret profits? Can we say that Mr. A has earned hidden profits of rupees 2,000? So all those who have given me the answer, yes, give a patting to yourself. Correct. That's excellent. And many of you have also written, ma'am, he should return rupees 2,000 to the firm. Definitely correct. A is bound to account for the profits. Why? Because section 16 specifically tell you that no personal profits you can make from the partnership business. If the partners are having any specific business, you have to account for any hidden profits that you have made by using the firm's name. Very good, Komal, Sarthak, Akshneel, Shiba, Dainesh, Anuja, Kusum, Mohammed, Sadiq. All of you have given correct answer. Abdul, Manisha, Jyoti, Jaspreet, Khushi, Shambhabi, Dhruv Khandelwal, Dhruv Agarwal as well, Jayanti, Harshita, Bhumika, Sanyam, Chandan, all of you. Good. We have certain MCQs also, children, today, but let's finish it off quickly. Muhammad Ahmed, that's absolutely correct. That will be the case of co-ownership. Aboli, it's not compulsory to write these sections. Yes, so he's clearly getting 2,000. So these children, you have understood. So whatever profits, so first case relates to if you are earning any personal profits by using the firm's name. He went to the market, he purchased the stock by using firm's name. He has hidden the stock in his own stores and now he's selling to the firm at a higher price. That means he is earning secret profits. He must return it to the firm. Second example. It says A, B, and C and D entered partnership business for importing salt from foreign ports and selling it at Chittagong. A put certain transactions of salt in his own account. So here he was having all the sugary business. Here he is talking about the salty business. So in this example, A is specifically trying to do a competing business. So he says he has booked the salt in his own name. You can say he is doing a competing business. Although the business is of importing salt, but he is doing certain transactions. It was found out to be of the same nature as the business carried on the partnership. Now A must return all the profits made by him, because you are not supposed to do any competing business when you are partner in a firm. Let's take a simpler example. I am a partner with you in a departmental store. So we are into sale purchase of all these confectionery items, biscuits, chocolates, and other things. Now I pick up some chocolates and I sell up in my own business. I cannot do this. I cannot have a competing similar kind of competitive business with my own partnership firm. So law says if I try to do any competition with my own partnership firm, then whatever profits I have earned, as per section 16, I'm bound to return all those profits to the firm. So remember the two cases that I just made to write it down, and all along with these examples, that's it. This is what you have to do in section 16. Now let's talk about your relationship of partners to third parties. This is something which will be covered in the two sessions, in today's session as well as in the further session. So we'll try to complete today's section 18 to 27, which talks about your nature and extent of liability for the acts of the partners. In this section, you will specifically understand about your implied authority of partners and how the liability of the partners is related to one another. So let's begin with section 18. So the first part of section 18 to 27, section 18 says nature and extent of liability of firm for the acts of the partner. अब ये कह क्या रहा है section 18? It says how the firm becomes liable for all the actions of the partner. So section 18 is simply telling you what we understood in day one, that the principle of mutual agency exists between the partners. All the partners are agent of the firm. If A, B and C are partners, so if A does certain purchases in the market, B and C are liable. If C does certain purchases, A and B will be liable. So all the partners are acting as an agent as well as principal for the purpose of business of the firm. However, it says the agency extended only to the business and will not cover anything done in his individual capacity. Means any partner doing any personal nature of work, that is something which will not be covered under the section 18 of partnership. Now, what does it mean? So say, for example, if you are in the sale purchase of office furniture, you have a partnership business for this thing. Now, if Mr. A has purchased certain machinery, certain furniture for the purpose of business, then obviously other parties are also liable because it is your business to sell and purchase the furniture. So that's absolutely fine. Now, same if we say Mr. A has picked up certain furniture for his home furnishing as well. He thought, since I'm getting so much of discount for my business, so let us pick up certain furniture for my home as well. So do you think for this home furniture that he has picked up, B and C are also liable? Tell me quickly. So if Mr. A has purchased certain furniture for his home, although they are into the business of sale and purchase of furniture, but Mr. A went to a showroom and he really liked the furniture, so office ke liye to he purchased it, but he also purchased certain furniture for his home. Are B and C liable to make the payment for the furniture that we have purchased for Mr. A's house? Yes or no? Sabreen Ansari is the first one to give me the correct answer. No, ma'am, definitely not. Correct. All right. So this is absolutely correct. Because why they are not bound? Because we are not bound for the personal transactions, only for the business transaction. Now, Mr. A purchased furniture for the purpose of business, say for rupees 1 lakh, B and C are totally liable. Because business ke liye jo bhi transaction kara, you will be liable. But any nature of transaction which is on the personal basis, partners will not be held liable. This is what your section 18 specifically tells you. Agency operates against sleeping or dormant partner because they are also liable for the acts of acting partners. Now, what does it mean? Now, somebody was asking about dominant partners liability in the morning. Please pay attention right now. It says even the sleeping and dormant partners are liable. Remember, I told you, active partners actively participate in the business, brings in capital, share the profits, and liable to the third parties. Dominant partner brings in the capital, lends his name, simply does not participate in the conduct of business, but he still share the profits and he is also liable to the third parties. Dominant partner is a sleeping partner, but he will also be liable Excellent, Akshnil, Sadiq, Dhruv, Komal, Vidya, Vidhi, Pranjali, Bardna, all of you have written the correct answer. Harshita, Dipanshi, all of you correct. Dipanshi Agarwal is wrong. She's saying all of them are liable. No, for home purchases, you will not be liable. Only for office purchases, they are liable. RN Agarwal, that is altogether a separate story. When we talk about drawings and interest on drawing, here we are simply understanding about if you are doing any purchases for personal purposes, firm will not be liable. Simple. Okay. All right. So have you understood, children? Sleeping and dominant partner are also liable. Liability of sleeping partner is also unlimited. Although they don't participate in the business, but their liability to outsiders is unlimited. I told you principle of mutual agency also exists for the sleeping partner. Now it talks about the authority of partners. Authority of partners, I told you in the morning also, authority means the powers of the partners. It means capacity of the partners to bind the others. We just understood if we are doing something for the business, I will bind. Does all the partners bind the firm? Yes, they only bind the firm for the acts related to business, and the firm is not bound because any act done for personal purposes, you will not be bound. There is another interesting example I have taken for all of you. There is ABC firm, Mr. A, a partner, booked the tickets through travel agent for a holiday. So Mr. A is really eager to go up. He thought that all the COVID situation has now removed, the restrictions have been removed. So let's take a flight and let's fly for a holiday. Now this Mr. Partner A does not make the payment to travel agent. Can we say the firm is bound to pay for Mr. A's act? The answer is no, because firm will never be bound to pay for the act done for the personal purposes. Okay, so he has booked a ticket for his holiday purposes, means for personal purposes, therefore firm will not be liable. In the same example, if Mr. A would have booked a ticket for his official trip, then B and C will be liable, yes or no? If in the same example, definitely, all those who have written the correct answers in the previous one. So we all know that if it would have been booked for official purposes, then the firm will be liable. Otherwise, for his personal nature of task, the firm will not be held liable. Now let's go to section 19, which talks about your express and implied authority. Express authority, I told you it is the authority which is by words spoken or written in the agreement. Implied authority, remember that coolie example which I told you in the beginning of the session where I'm keeping silent, I'm not telling you, that means by my conduct. So whatever by conduct of the partners, they are acting, they are doing the normal business, that is known as implied authority. So it is related to the normal business. As far as you're doing the normal business, it is your authority to do that. You're doing it for carrying out the business. Any actions taken to bind the firm, that is absolutely correct. So law says express authority means something which I have given you expressly. Children, now we'll be taking up the queries towards the end of the session. Otherwise, we'll be left in between. All right. So Priyanka, Arya, and those who are sending the queries, we'll take it at the end of the session now. So please let me complete this implied authority first. So express authority means by words spoken or written. Implied authority means something which the partners are allowed to do. What are the partners allowed to do? They are allowed to do the normal business. They are acting in the usual way of carrying out the business and they are binding the firm. Then it's absolutely correct. So if the normal business is to sell and purchase the shoes, and one of the partners went to the market and purchased clothes instead of shoes. Now, these are very simple examples and very simple language I have taken to make you understand what is the meaning of implied authority. Now, हमारा business है shoes sale and purchase का, and one of the partner is going and purchasing clothes. Is it done? Will you say partner has an implied authority? Ma'am taught us that we can do anything for the purpose of business. The answer is no. You can only do the acts related to the business. The firm is not bound by such acts. It is your fault. Why did you go and purchase cloth? We are doing into the business of sale and purchase of shoes. Now, any partner doing anything which is not the purpose of business, which is not as per the requirements for the purpose of business, then firm is not liable. So implied authority, mutual agency has to be applied and seen very carefully, children. It doesn't, because we are agent and principal, doesn't mean that the firm will be liable for whatever. If we are doing any funny act, the firm will become liable. Why are you purchasing cloth? We are into sale and purchase of shoes. Yes, you promised me that 5 number size is not available. We are manufacturing it and bringing it. Remember agreement and sale to agreement. Agreement to sell and sale. Example of shoes we have taken. It was absolutely an agreement to sell and we are doing a partnership firm. That is absolutely no. But if you're purchasing something else which is not a part of your business, then I'm sorry, firm is not liable. Firm is only liable for the actions which are related to the business. Clear ho gaya? This is the meaning of implied authority. Now we come to a very important topic for the restrictions imposed on the implied authority. Now the meaning of statutory you were asking. Statutory means by law. Law has imposed certain restrictions on the implied authority of the partner. Law said we although gave them the implied authority, that is by your conduct you can do whatever you want, but these are specific 7-8 acts which you cannot do. So these are the specific 8 transactions which a partner cannot do unless and until it is agreed. Now this word is very interesting. Unless agreed in the partnership agreement. So what is the major benefit of partnership? We can simply sign an agreement and we can do anything. So if we have signed an agreement, we'll eat the interest on capital. We will definitely get the interest on capital. We signed an agreement. I will keep 5, the profits will be 5:1. I will get the 5/6 share and you get 1/6. We have agreed. We can do whatever we want. So it says if we have agreed, then it is a separate story. By an agreement, you can do whatever you want. But if you ask me that law has given you this authority, law does not give you this authority. So these are the cases which the partner cannot do. So here you can write down in your language, these are the 8 cases which the partner cannot do unless it is agreed. If the partners have only agreed, then you can do whatever you want. So unless agreed, law में ही लिखा है ये, मैं नहीं कह रही हूँ, section 19 में specifically लिखा हुआ है, unless agreed. So if the partnership agreement is providing it, then you can do it. But if partnership agreement is silent about this thing, there is nothing written about these kind of things, then law says you cannot do such kind of activities, cannot be done by the partners. What are those things? Number 1, partners cannot submit a dispute for arbitration. Now, what is the meaning of arbitration? Children, arbitrator is an official body or a person who is appointed to resolve your disputes. First of all, you should know the meaning of disputes. Disputes means any fights that happen between the partners. So somebody was asking in the morning, ma'am, will they always have a good relationship? So if they have any fights, they can go to the court. So many a times before going to the court, we try to settle our disputes by going to an arbitrator. So arbitrator is a normal person who is, instead of, people at times feel that we have to spend so much expenditure and giving the fees of a lawyer and going to high court or tribunal and other places. So instead of going to the court, there is an outside party, there is an outside official agency who is known as an arbitrator, who are there to help you in settlement of your disputes. So if any 2 partners have a dispute, they can go to the arbitrator and they can resolve their issues. But law says partner has no implied authority to do so. Only if you have agreed in the partnership agreement, then you can go to the arbitrator. Otherwise, the partners cannot solve their disputes by going to the arbitrator. So arbitrator is a person who make both the parties sit together and he will listen to your arguments and he will try to give a solution for that. That is the meaning of arbitrator. Samajh aa gaya? Many of you send me the query who is an arbitrator. So I hope now it's clear. Arbitrator, you can write down, is a person, the official body or a person. All right, Mr. H. Om Prasad, we'll try to do that. Okay. So it's an official body or a person appointed to resolve the disputes. Disputes means fights. So first restriction which is given on the partners is that they cannot submit a dispute for arbitration. If they have any fights, they can resolve it at the court level. They cannot go to the arbitrator. But if they have agreed in the partnership agreement, then obviously they can do whatever they want. Opening up a bank account on behalf of the firm in his personal name. So this one of Mr. A partner just goes and tells that I want to open an Axis bank account on my own name. This is not allowed. You cannot do so. You can only have a bank account in the name of the firm. Compromise or relinquish any claim by the firm. Now, compromise or relinquish means to set off. Pehle meaning likho, fir I will explain. So, compromise or relinquish means to set off. Now, say for example, there was a firm who had to take money of rupees 10,000 from a particular client. So there was a firm ABC Associates, and they had to take money of rupees 10,000 from a particular client, and now this client was not paying them the money. So what did ABC Associates did? They filed a case, and now the case is going on in the court, and they have filed a case that we want to recover this 10,000 from the client. Now, one of Mr. A, he just went to the court and he said, okay, leave this 10,000. We want to withdraw it. We want to set off the claim. Can he do so? Law says no, there is no implied authority. You are not supposed to do so. You cannot give up any of the claims which is to be claimed by the firm. You cannot withdraw any proceedings filed by the firm. You cannot just go and take any decisions on behalf of the firm without the unanimous consent of all the partners. So if firm has filed a case that they want to recover 10,000 from the client, any of the partners cannot just go and withdraw such kind of filings which has been given by the firm. They cannot compromise on any of the claims by the firm. Firm has to take a unanimous decision. Partners have no right to take a call individually in such cases. Similarly, he cannot admit any liability in a suit or proceeding against the firm. Now let's take a reverse example. There was a case where the firm had to pay rupees 1 lakh. So one of the supplier has filed a case against ABC Associates that you have not paid our money of rupees 1 lakh. Firm was suffering a lot of losses. So the supplier went to court. He said, this firm is not paying my money. So now we have an outstanding liability as a firm. So if one of the partners just go and say, okay, fine, please confirm this proceeding, the firm is ready to pay the liability. You cannot take unanimous decisions, has to be taken. You cannot simply go and admit any liability on behalf of the firm. So A cannot go and say that, okay, fine, the firm is ready to pay rupees 1 lakh. It is the firm collectively, all the partners collectively are known as firm. So such decisions has to be taken by a firm. You cannot say that I have the implied authority to withdraw any case filed by the firm or to accept any liability on behalf of the firm or to set off any of the claims by the firm. You cannot have the individual liability. You don't have implied authority to do such acts in the individual capacity of a partner. Similarly, a partner cannot acquire any immovable property. Restrictions का मतलब क्या कर रहे हैं हम? All the cannot cases. This is something which the partners cannot do unless it is agreed. So if a partner just go and says that I've purchased the entire immovable property, a land and building I've purchased on firm's behalf, this cannot be done. All the consent of the partners is required. Then only this can happen. Similarly, he cannot sell off any of the immovable property belonging to the firm. Also, a partner cannot enter into partnership on behalf of the firm. I told you day one, in a partnership firm, we can have A company limited. Company can become a partner. Mr. B individual can be a partner. Mr. C can be a partner. D limited can be a partner. Company can still be a partner. But can you have ABC Associates as a partner? No. Partnership firm cannot enter into a partnership. You can be a partner in any number of firms, but partnership firm, you cannot enter into a partnership on behalf of your firm. Your firm cannot become a partner in other firms. Clear ho gaya? Section 19 is absolutely clear. 18 specifically talks about your mutual agency relationship, which you all have well understood now. I took your test also. You have answered me correctly. And section 19, these restrictions, 8 points you have to remember. And now we have understood, so it becomes easy to learn them. Now let's talk about the section 20. This is again very, very interesting topic. Section 20, children, talks about extension and restriction of partners' implied authority. Section 19 taught you where I can restrict, where 8 points where partners' implied authority is not allowed. Unless we have not agreed it, all partners do not agree, you cannot do so. Now, section 20 is talking about extending or restricting the implied authority. Means here expressly I am trying to do so. There they were by law, restrictions were given. Here expressly by mutual agreement, we decided that certain partners will not be doing these actions. Now, number 1 point, partners have expressly decided. Dhyan se sunna, you all have to pay full attention. I will go to the queries. Don't worry, children. Many a times I have seen children keep on writing the queries instead of listening. So we'll go to the queries at the end. We have 10 minutes for the queries. But first, listen to the topic that we are doing right now. So number 1, partners can extend or restrict the implied authority. Number 2, now all my children knows who's a third party, who is dealing with the firm. It says third party is not bound by such restrictions unless he has knowledge about such restrictions. So if the third party is aware, then he will not be bound by such restrictions. What happens in this case? Let us read the example. Please read it along with me so that you understand each and every point. Crystal clear, I want to get an answer, okay? A, B and C are the partners who are selling furniture. So there is a partnership firm, ABC Associates, and they were selling furniture. Now today, furniture has been the highlighting topic of today's discussion. So A agreed not to buy furniture for more than rupees 10,000. So they have made a mutual agreement. In the partnership deed, they have restricted the authority. What is implied authority? All the partners can go in the market and buy the furniture, and the other partners are liable. You all know now this implied authority means any one of the partner will go in the market and buy the furniture for the purpose of business. For whom you anyways told me, ma'am, okay, they will not be liable because personal ke liye hum liable nahi hai. Official business nature ke liye we all partners are liable. But not now. What we did is, by a mutual agreement, we have restricted Mr. A. We have decided that A will not buy furniture for more than 10,000. So there is one of the supplier, Mr. X. He is the third party. Who is Mr. X? Mr. X is a third party. So A purchased furniture of rupees 20,000 from Mr. X. Ab gadbad kar di. Restriction thi? Yes, ma'am, there was a restriction. Did he cross the restriction? Yes, ma'am. He did not fulfill the restriction. Now, what we have to see? We have to see the second point. Is third party aware of the restriction or not aware of the restriction? Law says there will be two answers to this point. Number one, you can mark here. X is not aware of this restriction. Therefore, he can claim his money from the firm. It should be firm over here. So, X can claim the money from the firm. Point number one. Third party does not know. How do I know? What are you doing? Internal agreement between your partners. So X said, Mr. A came to my shop and he purchased 20,000 furniture. Now pay my 20,000. But firm said, why we should pay? X ke paas to power hi nahi thi. X can only purchase for rupees 10,000. So this is how they took up the matter to the court. So law applied, court applied section 20 and they said, if this third party is not aware of this restriction, then you must pay him rupees 20,000. In the second case, if X is aware, say X is a person who keeps coming to ABC Associates partnership firm and he is aware that A cannot buy more than 10,000. Then if he still sells him for rupees 20,000, in such a case, firm say that now you were already aware of the restriction. Now you cannot claim the money from the firm. समझे? 3 parts में ये चीज डिवाइड हुई है. 3 parts to this particular question. Number one of the partners' authority has been restricted. There has been a restriction that you cannot purchase for more than 10,000. This is the part 2, 3 for the supplier. If the third party is not aware of this transaction, he will recover the money from the firm. If third party is aware of this restriction, he cannot recover the money from the firm. Simple. So please write down, if the third party is aware of the restriction, then he cannot recover the money from the firm. And if the third party is not aware of the restriction, then he can recover the money from the firm. So law is trying to protect the third party. He says if he's innocent, he's not aware, then entire money has to be paid. Then it's their internal matter that why A did so. So he can claim the money from the firm if he is not aware. But if he's already aware, he has been participating in the partnership, he has been coming and he has been doing the dealings on a number of bases, and he was aware that firm cannot purchase for more than 10,000, he has been restricted. Then in such a case, still if he is selling it for rupees 20,000 just to have an additional profit motive, law says you were aware of our implied authority restriction, then you cannot recover the money from the firm. ठीक है, clear हो गया. Section 20 is also clear. So one more small topic, let's do section 25 to 27 so that at least liabilities are covered. Okay, so liability to third parties, all of you know now there are 3 points in liabilities. Number 1, section 25 says partners are jointly and severally liable. Means together also we are liable, and individual capacity, in my individual capacity also as a partner, I am liable for any actions done by the firm. So we have understood the principle of mutual agency which hold the other partners liable. So liability is trying to tell you that all the partners are jointly as well as severally liable. Means you cannot say that I did not bring in much of the capital, so why you are holding me liable. Liability of the partners is unlimited. You all know that. That is the only reason why we have started up with LLP now. So the disadvantage of partnership firm is that they were having unlimited liability, which gave birth to LLP, that is limited liability partnership. So limited liability partnership has their own benefits of enjoying the partnership agreement, and they get the statute of a company as if it is a incorporated body. So the disadvantage over here we are discussing is that the partners have unlimited liability, and section 25 simply tells you that they are jointly and severally liable to the third parties for all the acts of the firm. So only for the acts of the firm they are liable. Nobody can say that you bought in more share, you are liable more, lesser share or lesser. Everybody is equally liable for the firm's actions. Liability for wrongful acts of the partner. Section 26 specifically tells you that if any of the partner has done any wrongful act in the business, then whole of the firm becomes liable. Now there is further sections to this, that is which tells you that whether there was a notice to the firm, how the firm was informed. So if the firm is aware any of the partner is doing the wrongful act and the firm has the information about that nature, all the partners will be held liable as per section 26. And number 3 is very interesting. It says misapplication of partners. Section 27 says, say for example, if you are in the sale purchase of car. So you are into the business of sale and purchase, you have partnership business in the sale and purchase of car, and one of the clients has parked their car in your parking area. So where your entire stock of cars is kept, one of the client of yours has parked their car, one of the stranger, anybody who has parked their car in your parking area, and by mistake, you sold off his car to one of your customers. So law says firm is liable for such misapplication. How can you sell off any misapplication done by one of the partners? Whole of the firm becomes liable. Why? Because this car does not belong to firm. How can you sell off anyone else's car to the customer? So if any such misapplication by mistake, any such kind of happenings have happened, section 27 will be applied, and all of the partners, whole of the firm will become liable to that particular person. Clear? So number 1, partners' liability is unlimited and they are individually as well as jointly liable for the firm. Now this is the chart to help you understand what is the meaning of unlimited liability. So say for example, there are 3 partners, they have invested rupees 10,000 each. So how much capital they have bought in? Rupees 30,000. Do I need to give them interest on capital? Yes, ma'am, only if it is agreed in the partnership deed. So they get the interest on 10,000 rupees only if we have agreed. If we have not agreed, no interest on capital is to be given. Now what happened? They set up a new business, and once they were doing the business, they had certain losses, and the liability which accrued to outsiders was $90,000. So they have invested $10,000 each. So $30,000 was their capital. And now when they are winding up the business, they were finishing it off. The business did not do well, and they had the liability that they had to pay is $90,000. Now, will you say that we will not pay, we can only pay till 30,000. We will not pay additional 60,000 because we bought only 10,000 from home. So losses, you have been doing business, you have been eating profits in the firm also. Your liability is unlimited. So now if you're not able to settle the liabilities, you have to pay individually 20,000 each. This is the meaning of unlimited liability. Means your personal assets of the partners will also be held liable. Individually means your personal assets are also liable in order to settle off the liabilities of the firm. You have to dispose of the liabilities of the firm. You cannot say that we just bought in limited capital. Whatever share of capital you have contributed, your liability in the firm is unlimited. Remember this example, you can express in your own words. All right. So children, I think let's move to the queries once, and I think we have taken up the related topics from the study material as well. So this is one chapter that goes in the second lecture as well. We have to take up the things in the second lecture as well. So there are few sections which many of you keep asking, ma'am, we have not done. Section 17 is a very basic section which we can just give a fair reading from here. Many of you have asked, ma'am, section 17. Okay, section 23, section 25. Okay, Shikha Chaudhary will try to take all these sections. Thank you, Dhairya Verma. We'll try to take up these sections from the study material. Okay, Priyanka, your query, let me just take up your query. Is it necessary to consult all the partners for any act if the ultimate power is in the hand of one of the partner? Is the nominal partner liable to pay for the losses of the firm in his personal income? Can ask the firm. So many things you have, jumbled up your queries. So let me answer your first thing. So she's asking, is it necessary to consult all the partners for any act of the firm? So when I told you right to be consulted, I told you two things. See, children, if there are routine nature tasks, I know that certain stationeries need to be purchased for the business. So pencils, pens chahiye hote hain business karne ke liye. So I will not be calling Mr. Q and R, hello, can I purchase the stationery? I don't need to consult anyone. I know the stock is finished and we generally have a trader who comes and supplier, we generally purchase it. Losses in such petty issues in routine nature, you don't need to consult everyone. You can just take a call from another partner who is sitting with you and you can take a decision. But wherein major business decisions are to be taken, we are deciding to admit any new partner in the business. Admission of a partner is happening. Any change in the business is happening. We are deciding to expand the business. Then you must have a unanimous consent of all the partners. Law says right has been given of consultation to all the partners. So all the partners should be consulted before taking major changes. Mariam Sridhar, ma'am, seller aware restrictions can claim for... Definitely, if the seller is aware of the restriction, then he cannot recover the amount. He can only recover the 10,000 amount that is allowed. That is absolutely correct. Arun Agarwal, if in that particular example, if he says that I'm not a partner, then anyways he will not be held partner by holding out. He will be excluded from his liability. Okay, let me complete section 17. I'll then go back to the queries. Everybody has started writing now. Section 17 simply tells you rights and duties of partners after a change in constitution. So what is the meaning of constitution of the firm? Say there are three partners, A, B and C. So that means A, B and C are the constitution of the firm. It is ABC Associates. If we take a new partner, then it becomes, say Mr. D has joined, then it becomes ABCD Associates. So it says partnership constitution changes if any partner is coming or if any partner is going, means A died, so it will be BCD Associates. If any partnership business is being carried on by the for any other business, so we have decided to carry on a particular partnership. Now we are extending it. So again, the partnership firm will be constituted as per that purpose. Another can be if we have decided to carry on for a fixed period. So remember, I told you it is a fixed partnership. And if after the term we are still deciding to carry and it becomes partnership at will, then again we have to change the terms and constitution of the partnership firm. Simple. So it's in section 17 simply gives you four places where your four cases where the rights and duties of partners will change after any change happens in the firm. So section 18 to 27 is done. You can give it a fair reading from your study material. Now let us quickly take up the queries which are coming in such a haste and hurry. Huh? So don't worry, we have exclusive 10 minutes for the queries. So section 23 and 24, those who have been asking, we will try to take that as well. Thanks for reminding us. We still have to take section 23 and 24 also from the study material. Apart from that, anybody wants to know anything? These are very basic sections, but we'll still try to take it up. Manisha, it is not compulsory to remember the names of the case laws in section. Shivam Chaudhary, loss of purchase of 10,000. It is definitely correct. I think you are all answering me the previous questions in this case. MCQs will be taken up in the next session, so be ready for that as well. Bhumika is asking, admit any liability. So, Bhumika, that restriction which we have talked about, the statutory restrictions on implied authority, it means that when I talk about admit any liability, means if any case is going on against the firm. So let's assume that there is a case going on against the firm and the firm had to pay rupees 1 lakh. If the other party wins this case, then the firm's liability of rupees 1 lakh needs to be paid off. So now what will generally happen? We'll fight for the case. We'll try to remove this liability from our shoulders. This is what happens when a case is filed. Now law says if one of the partners just go and say that, okay, fine, we accept our liability. We admit our liability. This is not allowed. You cannot just go and on behalf of firm, you cannot accept any liability. So admit means you cannot, we are talking about the cases which we cannot do. So admit any liability means to accept any liability. So we cannot accept any liability on behalf of the firm unless and until the unanimous consent of the firm is coming. Pooja, amalgamation. I don't know why you have went into amalgamation. What do you want to ask at that? Nafisa, we'll be covering section 22, 23, 24 from the study material right now. So, Dinesh, we'll cover all those sections from the study material. Don't worry. Lakshmi, section 18 is entirely same in the study material as well. It only talks about your implied agency, mutual agency. Thank you, Priyankam. Sameer saying expulsion of a partner. Expulsion, I'm yet to do with you about that, so don't worry. Pranjali, yes, definitely MCQs we'll be covering, but still they're asking about section 22, 23, 24. So let's take up first those sections. So this is 19, 20 and 21 which we have done. Let us first go to section 23, children. Section 23 typically talks about effect of admission by a partner. Now, admission by a partner means if any partner is doing any act in the ordinary course of the business, it says any representation made by the partner in the concerned affairs, it is made in the ordinary course of business. So whatever a partner is doing, any acts done by the partner. So admission basically means here, admission, you can write down the meaning of admission, any acts done by the partner. So simply law says anything done by the partner will be assumed that it is done in the normal course of business and whole of the firm becomes liable for that. This is what we understood in section 18 also. Now section 23 is specifically telling you that any acts or representations made by the partner, it will be considered as if the firm has done this act. So they will affect the firm when tendered by third parties. They may not have the same effect in case of dispute between the partners themselves. So law says if you're having your own disputes, third party will not be affected. So abhi jo humne section 20 specifically we discussed, that was the restriction of implied authority. Section 23 says if partners are having their own disputes and problems, that will not affect your transaction. So firm will be liable for any to the outsiders. Let us understand with the help of example. So X and Y are partners who are dealing in spare parts of different brands of motorcycle bikes. So they were selling and purchasing the spare parts of motorcycle bikes. So Z is a third party. He purchased a spare part for Yamaha motorcycle after being told by X that the spare part is suitable for this motorcycle. Now X and Y are partners. Z is a client, customer who has come to your shop. X told him that this motorcycle is suitable, this part is suitable for the motorcycle and you can purchase it. So spare part for Yamaha motorcycle he wanted to purchase and X just lied to him. He was not sure. The spare part was actually not suitable, but he said, yes, fine, it is suitable, you can purchase it. The law says Y is ignorant about this transaction. Y ko pata hi nahi ki X nahi kara. And later on it was found that it is unsuitable and the spare part and it got damaged. Now, can you say that only X is held liable? Law says both of them are liable. We have nothing to do that if Y is not aware of this transaction. Any transaction done by any of the partner firm will be held liable. So section 27 is children generally specifically talking about that if X and Y are having their own specific disputes. Say for example, Y was not talking to X that day, they had a fight. So X said, okay, fine, I will not consult him and I'll just sell this motorcycle part. So Z will say that it is your responsibility. How do I have to deal with if you were having a fight that day? That is not my matter of concern. You pay me my damages. So both X and Y will be held responsible to Mr. Z because any action taken by one of the partners will be considered as the action taken by the firm. So please write down in your own language, children. Section 23 says, any action taken by any of the partner in the business will be considered as the action taken by the firm. Therefore, the firm becomes liable for that. Now, section 24 typically talks about the notice of a partner. So this notice means having knowledge about certain thing. So here it talks if any of the partner is having knowledge about any transaction which is happening in the nature of business, then the firm is liable for that nature of business. The only exception is in the case of fraud. So if anyone is specifically trying to do a fraud, then only that respective partner will be held liable. But otherwise, it is assumed the section 24 is applied broadly. It says if any partner is doing with the knowledge of the firm any business, firm will be held liable. The only exception is in the case of fraud. So if you'll read these examples, it becomes crystal clear. It says P, Q, and R are partners in the sale and purchase of second-hand goods. So their business is to sell and purchase the second-hand goods. R purchased a second-hand good on behalf of the firm from S. So S is a third party. S, in course of dealings, he came to know that the car is stolen one and actually belongs to X. P and Q are ignorant about it. All the partners become liable to X, the real owner. Now, his breach of implied condition as to title has happened. So it says it is not just that R, one of the partner who has gone and purchased, their business was to do sale and purchase of second-hand goods. Now, if X wants to hold liable, all the partners will be held liable. Why? You cannot say that P and Q were ignorant. Once any transaction done by the firm, section 23 and 24, both has to be applied over here. That means having knowledge about the transaction is considered. Notice to one of the partner is equivalent to notice to rest of the partners. So if one of the partner is aware that this car is actually in course of dealing, he has come to know that it is a stolen one. If R knows about this thing, it will be assumed P and Q also knows about this thing. But the only exception is in the case of fraud. Law says if any fraud is happening, then the other partners will not be held liable. So your homework is read example number 9. Understand what happened if the case of fraud, how the partners are not held liable. And children, those who ask me how you have to remember this chapter, try to make a roadmap, try to make a flow charts. So today your homework is whatever sections we have covered till date, that is till section 27 we have talked about, except section 22, one we have left in between, which we'll be taking up in the next session, don't worry. So till section 27, you don't have to remember sections, but for your understanding, you have to make notes. You agree to that? So try making a road, write a flow chart in general duties of partners. So remember 5 duties, write the hidden points, write the first alphabets of the whole sentences so that you remember. Then we did rights. What are the 7-8 rights that are given to the partners? How section 18 happens, implied authority. How are the restrictions imposed on section 19? All those things. And my humble request, just revise what we have done till now. Somebody is still worried about section 22, which is left, but what we have done, revise that. We still have Thursday, we are meeting again. We will complete this chapter. I will take up all your queries, even if they are left behind, even if they were not covered, we'll still try to take up those queries. And thank you so much, Shiba Khan. This makes my day when you send me such beautiful comments. Thank you, Lakshmi, Priyanka, Bhumika. Thank you, children. So please try to revise whatever we have done till now. Try to make your notes and we will be taking up any queries if they are still left. We are just saying the same example which we have discussed, the same rule will apply in this case also, and you have to answer it according to that. Still, if anything is left, we will take up in the next session because it's already 1:10 and you have another session also at 2 p.m. So you can come up with your queries in the next session. First, we will resolve the queries and then we'll move ahead. All right. Thank you. Stay blessed. Enjoy yourself. Goodbye.